Today's vlog day 793, which is not nearly as exciting as next week, I guess, if you get excited about numbers. Good morning, it's Monday, which makes today Monday. That was kind of anticlimactic. Whoa, hey, that's perfect timing for my tripod to want to jump off of a ledge, because I was going to talk to you today about cameras and the great camera debate, because everybody's going to ask you, if you want to start vlogging, or if you do vlog, what the best camera for vlogging is. And I have a secret. There is no best camera. Look, you can get a schmancy camera that has real lenses, or you can shoot with a cell phone or an old VHS camcorder if you still have the ability to edit those. It doesn't really matter. What camera do you have on you? What story do you have to tell? Can it get the job done? Probably. Maybe not in the exact fashion you want it to, but at the end of the day, the cliche goes, the best camera you have is the one you have on you, and it is very, very true. When I started vlogging, I actually had a Canon 6D, which is a full frame camera that I actually only had one lens for. I had a 50 prime, which is kind of a ridiculous lens to try to vlog with, but if it tells you anything about my dedication to the craft, I managed somehow. You can get it far enough away from your face, and you can memorize exactly what the settings are physically on the lens to make sure that you're, in focus all the time, or most of the time, hopefully, and there you go. It didn't have autofocus or anything. I made it work. Nice camera, too much camera, not the right camera for vlogging. Ended up selling that one because I had to pay my taxes somehow that year. It was rough. I went through a rough patch of time, and I was vlogging during some of that as well. But the reason that I'm bringing it up is because I am thinking about upgrading cameras, and odds are good. I'm gonna be totally transparent that I'm probably gonna end up going with the Sony a6500, both because it's kind of an entry-level mirrorless camera, and mirrorless is small. It's largely about size for me, but we can talk more about that as we go. I'm going to try out a few different cameras this week, just to give them all a go, make sure that I'm not making a silly decision. Pushan was nice enough to loan me his 6500. I'm gonna be picking up a few others. We'll talk about that later. But the reason that I'm upgrading cameras is far more important than which camera I choose. And I think that's really important before people start quoting specs at me in the comments. It's not about the specs. I don't think that those matter nearly as much. And I'll explain why, but first, coffee. In fact, I would argue that bigger and better equipment comes with a lot of its own problems. For example, size and weight. If you've got a fancy camera and it's got lenses which have real glass in them, you've got all of a sudden a few more pounds to carry around all day, every day. And if you're already carrying a backpack that's got like your laptop, notebooks, cell phone, tripods, whatever in it, I guess it starts to add up. You can get stronger shoulders, it's for sure, but the more camera gear you carry, the more miserable you'll be. That's just kind of a general rule of thumb. You're also complicating your edit by having larger file sizes. Like if you're gonna edit in 4K, you're gonna slow things down significantly while you're editing. It's one of the big reasons I'm not gonna be shooting in 4K, which we'll talk more about later. But if you're gonna be vlogging daily, you need things to be quick, light, just a regular part of your everyday. It's not like you're thinking in terms of, I've got to go shoot one thing this week, so I'm gonna go do that. Vlogging regularly is like adding another pair of sunglasses. You want to make sure that they fit, they're sleek, and you don't even think about it. They just become a part of what you're doing every day. Which is one of the reasons why that tripod setup in my room is so simple. It's pretty complicated, as you can see. Basically, it's a magnetic Joby tripod and a metal window and a camera. Also why I always use this tripod now, because it just fits in my pocket. It's always there. I can use it in like 90% of situations as long as there's something reasonably flat and large enough for it. Then I don't have to think about it, and it doesn't weigh me down. You have bigger batteries that take longer to charge. Often you burn through them faster. Granted, the cell phone doesn't last it through an entire day a lot of the times, and I destroy these things every 6 months, and I have to suffer through the consequences of that. So that's part of the problem that I've got going here. It's not like this is a perfect solution, but neither is a real camera. So it's good to keep that in mind. If you're thinking about starting out vlogging, if you've never done it before, just start with your cell phone. I have made almost 800 episodes using almost exclusively a cell phone, and I've gotten a lot better at storytelling, I've gotten a lot better at vlogging, and there are a lot of people that have no idea that I'm doing this with a cell phone. I get asked all the time what camera I'm using, and generally when people find out it's this, they're shocked. There's also like an inherent ad for Samsung, I guess, but I'm not here to advertise for Samsung. So, benefits of a cell phone, and then problems of the cell phone. Cell phone benefits: small, always with you, easy to carry, totally nondescript. People just think I'm FaceTiming with somebody right now just to look at me, but they're not that interested. Occasionally I get photobombed, which is fun, but not that often. The quality is generally very, very good. Yeah. Also, cell phones are, you know, easy to put down when somebody calls out your name and then you stop and hang out. Ken, it was nice to meet you. Everybody else, I'm gonna work on remembering names. I haven't had coffee yet, so remembering names is gonna be kind of hard. Ken and Skippy though, I remember that for sure. And we'll work on the rest, sorry. The cell phone has a lot of benefits. It's also really, like with the case that I have on this, I can drop it, I can take a lot of risks. I mean, it is risky, but it conjoins a lot of functions into one. So not only am I able to film myself, but I'm able to do a lot of work on it. It's my phone, my little mobile office, and it's all in one location. One of the other things that I think goes very much underappreciated is the stabilization on here is incredible. It's a software stabilization so that I generally look very smooth unless it's not functioning properly. As I'm walking, as I'm going around, scooters, my bane. The footage is smooth, it's pretty clear, but of course if you're looking for it and you know what to look for with the stabilization warp, it can be kind of annoying. So, let me try to think, is there anything else that's really, really good about filming on a cell phone? The accessories are cheap. The tripod I have that I showed you earlier, not expensive. And you can kind of hang it anywhere. You can just stick it places. Like yesterday I stuck it in one of these grates. Just stuck it right there. That was my tripod for one of my shots yesterday. Just very versatile for that kind of stuff as well. Coffee and then downsides. One of the things that's a massive downside to using a cell phone, we're gonna go get lunch by the way.
Yes.
Hi, taco time. Oh, it's Taco Tuesday? No, it's Monday. It's Tuesday for you though, so that works.
Mexican Monday.
Mexican Mondays. Good catch. My phone, if I pull it out quickly and start filming, sometimes the footage orients itself sideways. This is actually oriented like this. I saw that as I went to turn around and decided, you know what, just keep going. There's some little things like that. A fixed lens is another thing that annoys me. Like I can't optically zoom, which I wish I could. And the quality is just notably lower. Still very good, but definitely notably lower. Other issues include the fact that it's really glitchy sometimes, especially as I wear it down. It has an unintentionally variable frame rate, which means it should be filming at 29.97 frames per second. And if you look at the list, like it'll be anywhere from like 30 point something down to like 20 something because it's just falling apart, which ends up with audio out of sync, all kinds of random little problems that make the video just not quite as good. And now I've got like weird VHS compression style errors coming through this thing as well. All that to say, cell phone has some pretty extreme limitations, including being a little bit slower, throwing in a lot of random bits of errors as it goes, and yeah, just generally causing weird, very specific frustrations. Did we take the wrong street? I do this every time.
I still was gonna say because we're coming up from over.
I do this every time. We're going to El Nopal. Wait, to the left or to the right is the question. I always do this every time I try to go to this place. We need to go, I think we go up to the right. That's what I'm gonna guess. Wait, tacos were off, they were closed, but now we're trying to find an alternative. This place looks kind of fun. Ooh, Japanese. I'm down, and it's full of people. That looks happy. Cheers. Oh, very hot but very good. Wow. So healthy. Pico Pico? That place was good. The gyoza. Go get the gyoza. So good. Whew, okay, now I gotta fight off the food coma and go to this store. What I'm gonna be doing this week is I'm actually gonna be trying out the plan at least. We'll see how this works out in practice when I actually get to this store to check out the rental situation. But the plan would be to rent a different camera every day for 3 days, 3 potential cameras, just to try them out, see what it's like to film with them, talk about it, and then make an informed decision at the end as to what I'm gonna upgrade to. My patron pushed me over my upgrade goal, so I'm ready and willing to upgrade to a new camera as soon as I can, if I don't get run over by a car in the process. But the debate is ongoing as to what camera to get, which is what this video is ultimately supposed to be about. There are highs and lows that come with filming on a phone, and I'm actually very reluctant to stop just because it's so ingrained. It's part of my workflow, and it's so simple. and I don't have to carry anything extra. It's wonderful. All these things we've been talking about. However, I'm not pushing myself creatively in the ways that I would like to. I really want to be pushing myself more actively to learn and grow in my cinematography, photography, the ways that I express myself through the technical aspects of filmmaking, which this phone cannot do. It is the ultimate point and shoot, all it can do. So for me, I've hesitated. It's been an ongoing debate for years, whether or not I should get a real camera, what camera I should get, the specs, the spreadsheets, everything. But ultimately what it's gonna come down to is what camera makes me excited to film. How do I push myself and grow that I'm willing to overcome the inconveniences and learning curve to use it every day, just because I'm stoked to have it? That's the question. That's where we're at right now. So let's go check out some cameras. I was very worried there for a second. They looked very closed, but they're open. Let's see how this goes. Running into a problem because they don't rent out point and shoots, which is not a big deal because I'm pretty sure I don't want to point and shoot. I don't want to give it a try anyways, so we're figuring out the lens situation. This is going to be a much more versatile, what was this in the end? 16 to 35. Trying to make sure that it's not too wide and then I can actually zoom in a little bit. I'll discuss more what's going on in my brain after this is over. This is actually where my imposter syndrome comes out a little bit, talking about cameras. It's another reason I want to get one, so I can learn more. Those guys were super helpful. One of the things, the problems that I have that I also was wanting to share about today is that I suffer from a little bit of imposter syndrome when it comes to camera stuff, because I've always loved photography, I've always loved videography, but my technical knowledge has always lagged behind. It's not something that interests me as much. I want to get into just like storytelling aspects, which the technical stuff helps, and that's why I want to push myself, both creatively, but also to learn. Like, I'm learning a lot just by going through this whole process, reading up on the specs, trying out different cameras. Trick is, they don't have one of the 3 cameras I wanted to try out. So now, do I modify my test? Because I was pretty sure I didn't want that camera anyways. Or do I try to find one and do it anyways for the sake of science? See what I can find. Anyways, I'm gonna go home and edit for a little bit and recoup my thoughts, and we'll try to pull it all together here. I just got done chatting with Prushan about the current situation. I'm renting from the guys who he usually rents from, and so it came as a surprise that they didn't have point and shoots to rent. And now it's kind of like, well, if I'm feeling pretty dead set on this, he really wants me to get the RX 100. I would really like to use this for a number of reasons I was going to get into over the course of testing both of them, but we just don't have access to them. So I think maybe what we'll do is we'll put off, I'm not going to buy a camera until November, most likely end of October or November when I go back to the States. Electronics are just significantly cheaper in America. So I figured when I go back, I would buy one then anyways. So we have a little bit of time to figure it out. I'm still gonna play with this week. I'm still gonna rent a lens, a different lens, and play with the A6500 here and see what it's like. I definitely wanna play with it some. And then when we get a chance, I'll hopefully get to play with an RX 100 as well, and maybe something else. But I was thinking about getting Canon's M50 or GH5 from Panasonic as well. Something outside of Sony to compare them to and play with them, but it just feels like a little bit of overkill at this point, and I'm exhausted. I'm very tired. Yesterday's video really did my head in, so I think I'm gonna actually kind of put a little bit of we're gonna pump the brakes a little bit on the week of the vlog. I still would like to answer your questions about how I vlog, what I'm thinking about as far as cameras or technique, anything like that goes. I know a lot of people are very interested in how I edit to music, how I choose music, all of that, so I'll try to talk about that this week as I pull back from the camera stuff a little bit. What else would you like me to fill this weekend with? What is it that you're so curious about with my vlog? Or are you curious? Would you like me to just go back to showing you shiny photos of the Eiffel Tower? Because I can always do that too. I don't know, just let me know. And I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow will be pretty chill, and then we'll get back to the camera stuff because maybe I'll just sleep for a day or two.